My guest today played softball at Arizona State. Fantastic with the bat and on defense. She helped the Sun Devils win national championships in 2008 and 2011. Mandy Urfer. Mandy, such an honor to be chatting with you today. Now, I gotta admit this. I was reading your bio on the ASU website, right? And I noticed that at least at the time when it was written, that your favorite music artist was Michael Bublé. So I gotta ask, how did you get into Buble?
Oh, for sure. And actually, that's such a fun question because I finally got to go to a concert of his recently. So I was supposed to go during 2020 during COVID times, but they got shut down. And so after that, I was able to experience his concert, I think in like, I don't know, a few years ago. So I just think Michael Bublé is so classy. I love his music. I kind of grew up with that style music from my mom. She had me listening to a lot of that style of music, but I just think Michael Bublé is a class act, and I love his songs, so they're happy, and I enjoyed that music for sure, and I still do.
Hey, that's awesome. It's awesome. What was being at the concert like? What was your experience like there?
Oh, amazing. I may have teared up as well. I love all of his songs. I kind of listened to a lot of his music in college. So listening to it just a few years ago brought back all the feels. I'm in property management now for my work, and I've been with my company for 14 years. And in the models, we play Michael Bublé. So it really is so interesting that you asked me about that because it has been something that I've enjoyed and I still do enjoy it. But his concert was incredible. He's such a class act. I mean, I just love what he stands for and just the way that he behaves. And I think it's really awesome. He's a true performer.
When it comes to softball, how did you first get interested in the sport?
Sure. I think I started swinging a bat at age 2, and I loved the sport since I picked up the bat. Sports was my thing. It wasn't just softball. I also played volleyball. I played basketball. I started in soccer at a very young age, but I that required too much running for me. So I was like, you know what? I really enjoyed softball. My mom coached me up until probably around 10, and then I started getting into travel ball. But my mom also played softball. I have a twin sister, and we played softball growing up together. So it was just an incredible sport that I was lucky to be very talented in at a young age and enjoyed it from that start. So yeah, since 2.
When it comes to picking ASU, what led to that decision to come to Tempe?
Yeah, what a great question. And I would say I was somebody that made the decision a little bit later than most of the athletes that were around me. So a lot of people were verbally, I mean, back then, even with me, like freshman, sophomore year, I really wanted to visit the schools. And it wasn't until your junior year that you were able to take visits and they could fly you out and show you around to the different campuses. And so I did wait till my junior year, and I went to a lot of different campuses. It boiled down to 3 choices for me. I was choosing between ASU, Oklahoma Sooners, Patty Gasso at the time. I also got to meet her, and then I think it was a Christian school in California that I was trying to figure out like where was I going to go. And to be honest, it really boiled down to my connection with Coach Myers and the connection that I had with a few of the girls when I went on my recruiting trip. And I'm so glad that I waited to be able to experience that because for me, it had a big impact on the decision that I made. I also think it helped that Arizona was a lot closer to California, and I am extremely close with my family. So having that a little closer made it much better for them. It wasn't going to be as far as a travel than going to an Oklahoma state. So ultimately, I went with ASU, and it was the best decision I ever made.
When you were able to see the campus for the first time, like what stood out to you about the campus when you had your first impressions of it?
You know, right now, I have gone back to Arizona because I still have a lot of friends out there. It is an incredible campus today and how much growth it has done. But since even in my time, it was a beautiful campus. Our softball field was incredible. We were extremely blessed to be given everything that we did at our softball field. Now it's even better, which at the time I was like, we thought we had it made then. So, the campus was beautiful. It was hot. I'd say that was the only con. But as far as the pros, I mean, I just really enjoyed going into the athletic, places and being able to meet all the people. Very warm and inviting. Loved Coach Myers. He was a true gem of a coach in person. And then the players, at that time, on my recruiting trip, I met Katie Burkhart, Kristen Miller, a lot of these seniors that had a big impact on my freshman year. And they were a big time, you know, players in my career that have really been influential in my life as well. So that was an incredible time. The people were incredible. I think that's what sticks out to me the most is just how warm and welcoming everybody was and fun. Everyone had great personalities, and it was just such a great fit. So the campus in general, though, was amazing. It's huge, and it was super fun. So I loved it.
Yeah, for sure. And when you were going into your freshman year, I mean, you knew that you were going to be playing for a great team. Great things were happening here in Tempe. But did you expect that you were going to win a national championship in your first year?
That's a really good question, and I don't think my answer is from the very beginning. I may have doubted it a little bit. I don't think I came in thinking we're going to win day one, but I know who did think we were going to win day one, and that was Coach Myers. And, he had absolutely no doubt in his mind. I think it was literally our first meeting together, and he said, we're here to win a national championship this year. And that team was so dynamic in so many different ways, starting with the seniors. But my freshman class, I had played against almost half of them in California. So I knew of them. I didn't know them at the time, but I knew them and how they played going in because I played against Krista Donenworth and Leslie Rogers, Kaylee Castillo. Those girls, we all played against them in travel ball teams. So I knew that we had some great talent. And when the season ended up starting and getting into it, I obviously knew that we had a great team and a special team. And I think what was so special about it was just the camaraderie that we had with the girls and just being able to really vibe on a personality level and just all of us knowing that that's what we wanted was to win. So in the beginning, I'm going to answer that and say, no, I was just a freshman, right? I had butterflies in my stomach probably for the half of the year. And then, it settles in and you start to become more confident and you start to learn the girls and the team. And then you just know that you have this really special group of women that really are just an incredible group of athletes that just we were winning so often, and it was just an incredible journey to watch us take that year and be able to win as much as we did. That was fun.
What was the transition, the adjustment like, going, from like high school, like back home in California to now you're in Arizona and you're having to adjust to college life and all that entails, life as a student athlete. What was that like for you?
So much adjustment. And let's just talk about metal cleats. We didn't wear those in high school. I'll never forget this. Krista Donenworth and I, we were roommates. To this day, we're best friends, which is an incredible. If I could talk about each of the girls, I would have relationships with each one of them to this day, even if I hadn't seen them in years. And that's how close we all were. But I remember adjusting to metal cleats, twisting our ankles, having to deal with that, adjusting to 5 a.m. workouts every single day. Also, it was an adjustment for me on a level of what I wanted to do with my career as well, because I was wanting to get into pre-med as a freshman and it was too much. So I had to shift to business communications and I loved that. But it was just a lot to handle. So I needed to shift and balance and all kinds of adjustments, all kind of pivoting. But looking back on it all, it's really what created the woman I am today. So, it was hard. We went through so much hard work back then. Every single day we had 5 a.m. workouts. So I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but I know even in like our senior year, we actually we got coached to do it like every other day. So we could have a little bit more of a balance with just being able to wake up and not have to be at a 5 a.m. workout every day. But the grind was real and we really put in a ton of work that freshman year. And yeah, it was a lot. And I think as a freshman, going into so much change so quickly, um, it takes a lot of mental toughness, which we also had a lot of mental toughness coaching going on in my freshman year that really stands out to me. We had an amazing individual, Carl Kuehl, who wrote the book Mental Toughness, and we studied it in our freshman year because being on that team was more than just what you could physically do. It was a mental game. And I had never even learned about the mental game until I got to ASU. So that was a huge, huge differentiator that kind of changed the trajectory of how we, grew up into that team that we were in our senior year.
Now, on day one of the World Series against Alabama, you had one of the biggest hits of the entire season. It was a two-run double down the third base line that gave ASU a 3-1 lead in the seventh. Just a huge moment. What do you remember from that at bat?
So cool, so exciting. Um, that was a big hit for me in that moment. Going back to it, it was also something that Alabama will try to tell you that it didn't hit her glove, but it did, and it created a win for us. So just nothing but excitement. Again, I think even going into the World Series as a freshman, butterflies all day long. I mean, I was nowhere near the confidence that I had as a senior was nowhere near my freshman year. But I was an athlete. I was excited to get in there and win, so I did whatever it took. And that was an exciting win for us. And it really did push us, into the next games, which was super important and very exciting as a freshman for sure.
And that, of course, I mean, that ended up being a huge moment to kick off the World Series, and then it culminates in the absolute domination against Texas A&M in the finals. When Katie got that last strikeout, the celebration begins. What memories do you have from that moment?
Oh, just pure excitement. And especially for that senior class, they were really special. I think they called themselves the Fab Five, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And they were quite a group of women and certainly people that we look up to. And at that time, we're so excited for them. It was just the start of our career as a freshman. So coming in strong and taking a World Series in our first year was huge. But I think even more exciting for that senior class and how much hard work that they had worked towards, specifically in their 4 years. So, it was exciting. But again, it was just the start. So you start off with a win, you expect to win it every year after that. So, anything below that would be not acceptable. So, the sophomore and junior year, those were unique years. I think, I do remember going in our sophomore year, junior year, we didn't even make it, but and then we finally made our way back senior year, which was huge for us. But yeah, just so much excitement and thrills, and what a career to start your freshman year off with a natty champ.
Oh, for sure. And in November of 2008, y'all actually got to go to the White House and
Yes.
meet President George W. Bush. What was that like?
Amazing. Oh my gosh, that was such an incredible and exciting moment for our team. And, we were sipping hot cocoa out on the White House lawn. We went to they took us on a tour. That was an incredible trip and something we'll never forget, especially just how bonded all of us were. Um, Incredible. And again, very blessed to be able to have had a president that would allow that and to let us be a part of that. So, I mean, how many people can say they've been in the White House? So that was pretty
Yeah.
awesome. And I remember we had given the president a jersey and got to take a picture with him. And there were just so many exciting moments that year. And that one being probably one of the top.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Then in 20, no, flash forward to 2011 and it's it's different now because you're a senior and you're very experienced, you're a veteran on the squad now. And you, Krista and Leslie, you're the seniors on that team. So, how would you describe just the bond that you had with Krista and Leslie?
Yeah, I love that. We called ourselves the trio. And to this day, we are still the trio. Both Leslie and Krista are living with their husbands and family in Arizona, and I visit them often. But our bond was unbreakable, and that actually started in our freshman year. We dormed right next to each other. Krista was my roommate, and then Leslie dormed right next to us. So there would even be moments in our freshman year where she'd grab her bed and take it into our dorm, and we would all three be in there. Our friendship is extremely important and so valuable. And, those years were remarkable. And, our senior year was really important to us, being our last one and wanting to end it with a bang. We took that team out that year to the lake and we all went tubing as a team. It was kind of a bonding experience. And we came up with our slogan that year, which was be be pretty, be positive, win. And that was kind of our motto for that year. And those girls will always be family to me. They're like sisters, and they're very close friends of mine to this day. And we had an incredible bond. But, we were very confident in our senior year, and it hadn't been our first rodeo. So I think we were so much more calm as seniors as well, which coach would talk about often, that it'll come with age. And so senior year was a very special year for us, but it was an important one and we took it really seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a freshman on the 2008 team to then being a senior in 2011, I mean, how do you think, from your perspective, how do you think you had grown in that period of time as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, freshman year, I was lucky to have had some really great women mentoring me and being able to really pick up on what kind of a leader I wanted to be. When I became a senior, I, at that point, was very confident in the type of leader that I wanted to be for my team and understood my role as a senior and how important it was to make sure that these girls stayed on track. I mean, even with our freshmen, we had some incredible freshmen that year. One of them that sticks out is Dallas Escobedo. To this day, we are extremely close and keeping every of the girls in line. I was known as Mama Urf, so I was the mama on the team. And my leadership style was important to ensure that the girls were doing things correctly, holding them accountable, and making sure that we were having fun. There's so many elements that create a great leader. But I think ultimately it came very natural for me in my senior year, and I chose, to be that person kind of going on into even my career now.
How would you compare the emotions of winning the championship in freshman year to winning it in your senior year?
Yeah, I mean, freshman year was an incredible moment. You're coming in your first year and you're taking a national championship. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. But to leave as seniors, your legacy behind, and that's it. And then you go into life, right? That's everything. You essentially left your college career on a win. So it was everything to us. I mean, and they're really, although freshman year was incredible, it was just the start. And senior year meant so much more to us at that time, being a senior and knowing, for women at that time, I'd say it's so awesome to see women's sports kicking off and becoming so much bigger now. But the reality is that typically after college, you're kind of getting into life and your career and what you're choosing to do with the rest of your life. And so for me, it was such a confidence booster. I mean, I really went into the world like everyone's going to want to hire me. I'm a winner. So it was really cool and just an incredible blessing to be able to end my entire college career with a win. And again, ending the Pac-10 as well. So, everything changed after that so much. And I'm just happy that we were able to just end with a bang.
And you were very active off the field as well. I read that you were the events coordinator on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. What sort of stuff were you able to do in that position?
Sure. So I was there and then I was in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and a lot of our teammates, we would get involved in all kinds of different things, whether it was helping out with the communities or getting together and, getting with our booster program people. I mean, Coach really just connected us with some really influential people that, really talk to us about life. And I was very blessed to have been able to be a part of that, but also to give back in any way that we could too. So, it was fun. I mean, from what I remember, we just were very heavily involved in like booster programs and talking with a lot of people in the Arizona area and just giving back in any way that we could.
What sort of like mementos or physical items have you kept from your time at ASU?
Well, for sure, I have my two championship rings, which
Mhm.
are amazing to me. I think I would grab that if my house was going to be burning down. It's just something that I'll always have, and it was such a big memento for us. I have lots of pictures that I hold on to from all of those years, especially the ones when we went to the White House and all the different mementos that I've been able to kind of hold on to. Like I had big old, back in they used to have big posters of us that we used to sign. So little things like that. A few years ago, we had a couple boosters that had given back some of our jerseys. So there was somebody that had said like I think they had gotten old and they just had all of these articles on me and they ended up mailing me some things and I thought it was just so sweet, just things that they had kept on all of the games and stuff. So I have been able to collect some pretty cool items, but it doesn't get better than the two rings. I mean, that for me is like everything. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean that stuff is top tier. I mean
well,
that's
and see, I do have my glove still. I play slow pitch occasionally and I'm still using my glove. So
Oh,
I've
really?
kept
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then just I mean, in general, if you could put into words the overall impact that ASU has had on your life.
Oh man, ASU has been everything to my life. And, my 4 years as a Sun Devil has really shaped who I am today in so many different ways. Being an athlete, you are given so much responsibility. And what comes out of that is an incredible person with a lot of, you know, discipline. And winning mentality and hardworking and great attributes that can go into life. So I'm very thankful for my 4 years at ASU. Starting with, there's one thing that I've been with my company now for 14 years. When I got out of college, I started with my company. And as I've become an area director and I manage a lot of people now, I always start off with the colors assessment. And that's actually something that we did in my freshman year at ASU. It's a personality test and it shows you what kind of personality traits you have and how important it is to work with different kinds of personalities. And to this day, I still use that assessment to when I go into my teams and I try to help them work together and to see, okay, you have might have different personalities, but one, it's important to have different personalities in life because can you imagine working with all of the same personalities? That would be awful. So, what creates this incredible team is the different personalities, and learning how to work with those personalities is what's the key to life, right? So, you know, it's funny because when I think about where I was taught that, that was at ASU my freshman year. And I take it with me to this day at 36. So, there's so many things that just stands out amongst a lot of other things that have been influential to my life. But those years were everything to me. And I'm so happy that I made the choice to go there. And it truly has been an incredible time to kind of look back and what we've accomplished has really created us now for the people that we are today.
As you've mentioned before, I mean you work with Widener apartment homes. So how did you first start at the company?
Yeah, so so Rachel Bush, who was on our team, she pitched on our team batting practice to us our freshman year in 2008. To this day, we are extremely close friends, but she had come in that year and that's how we met. And when I was graduating, and then after that, so she was part of like our utility team in 2008 and helped us with batting practice. I always tell her to this day, I don't know if any other team was getting live pitching like we were. So that was a huge piece of our success because, you know, um, every piece of, I don't care I don't know what you're doing on the team, but everyone matters. It doesn't matter what position you play, but everything and every little thing matters. So, she was somebody that I met in 2008 when I was graduating out of ASU. I was going through some interviews for companies, and she had called me up and she said, "Hey, Widener Apartment Homes has this manager in training program. I think you'd be a great fit." So I went through about four different interviews with the company at the time, and I landed the manager in training. And then I ended up working out in Arizona for a couple of years as a manager in training. Within about a year and a half to 2 years, I was promoted to a manager of my own property out in Gilbert at the time. And then I was working on a property in Chandler. And then our company decided to buy in California, and that is home for me. So I raised my hand and I transferred out to California, and I have been out here since. And since that time frame, we now have 9 properties out here in California, 6 of them being in SoCal and 3 in NorCal. So we've really just grown, and I've been able to be a big part of all the takeovers that we've been able to do. And now I'm area directing. So I oversee 4 properties right now and about 30 different associates. So I love my job. My anniversary just was I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and I just celebrated 14 years with Widener. So very lucky and blessed to have this career and to be with them for so long. I think is very rare. And so I'm very lucky and very, very happy to be with my company now.
That's awesome. That no, it's wonderful to hear it. It's wonderful. What are the biggest things that you've learned from your experiences at Widener?
Yeah, so Widener is never a dull moment in property management. Um, it is a very big people uh, type of business where, you're working with residents' homes and vendors and different kinds of, ups and downs, and you have to really just put on many hats in the business that we're in. But it is very fulfilling because you don't have the same things happening every day. So it's pretty awesome. And I love that every day I can wake up to something new, and working with a lot of different people that I get to coach and mentor and lead and hopefully inspire. It is a pretty great company, and I'm very blessed to have worked with for Mr. Widener and the many leaders that have, been there for me in this company as well.
That's great. That is great. Now, last question here. As a former student athlete yourself, what is the biggest piece of advice that you have for current student athletes that are in college?
Good question. Honestly, my coach gave me a quote that I live by. Coach Myers told us that greatness is a way of life. So it's kind of funny because I tell people everyone can be good, but try to be great. Really step outside your comfort zone and get into the areas that make you uncomfortable and work hard and become great at life because everybody's good when you get, into college. And so what's going to make you better and how do you get great? And so I live by that. And I always have loved Coach Myers' quote, which was greatness is a way of life. And that's something I live by to this day. I think I've even preached it at some meetings before. And so it is something that I would love to, give to other people as well, as just, be great and work hard and it'll pay off.
Hey, those are some great words to live by. Absolutely. Gosh, Mandy, thank you so much for giving me some of your time today, being able to chat with you. Truly an honor. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate your time and I appreciate you reaching out.